the purest and most relaxing bed rotting I have ever done. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Just Another Struggling Writer, the beleaguered author's one-stop shop for commiseration and hopefully inspiration. My name is Carrie Scher, and I am just another struggling writer. Today is March 2nd, and in 29 days, I intend to have the first draft of my current work in progress, Seekers of Empyrean, complete. I am currently sitting at almost 64,000 words, which according to Dabble is 61% of the way through the manuscript, with a current end target of 105,000 words. I got that number, by the way, from just doubling the word count I was at the midpoint, but we'll see if that actually holds true, which means I need to write over 40,000 words in less than a month. I just painted my nails for a different video, so I'm just waiting for them to dry, and then I'm going to apply some top coat. So I hope you don't mind a little bit of activity while we chat. This is my new color. I love it. It's called Temperature is Rising. I'm really into these light springtime colors right now because the weather is finally starting to turn here in Texas, and I'm just feeling really springy and just really light and vibrant. The sun is coming back next week. I'm so excited about it. I am a sufferer of the SADS. I hate it in the wintertime. I always get super just low energy, which tends to spiral into depression because I get so much satisfaction, self-value out of being productive. And so when I am low energy and I feel like I can't produce or create, I get down, and then it just becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy, and then it spirals. So I'm so excited to finally be getting the sun back next week. Also excited about where I am at in my manuscript. 61% is like right in that butter zone of when I am reading a book. I feel like the plot really starts rolling downhill really, really quickly towards the climax, and I just don't want to stop. A lot of times when I'm reading a book, when I get to that 65% mark, I binge read until the end, unless it's like a crazy long, like 600 page book. But I just like to just consume it very, very quickly. And I'm in that spot now in my manuscript, and I'm really excited about it. Unfortunately, I'm just a little bit behind the 8 ball because my February wasn't as productive as it should have been. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know that in January, I participated in a big 10,000 word weekend put on by a couple of author tubers. Essentially, the challenge sounds exactly like what it was. It was from Friday night to Sunday night, write 10,000 words. And I hadn't intended on participating. I actually had a pretty busy weekend that weekend, but I decided to participate and check in with some of the live streams. And while I didn't hit 10,000, I got 7,500. And that felt like a really huge success because at the time, my only goal was to write 500 words a day. So to go from potentially doing only 1,500 words to getting 7,500 words in 3 days, that felt incredible. And then the following week, we had that big ice storm here in Texas where everything shut down because no one in Texas knows how to drive if there's even a little bit of ice on the roads. So they closed the schools down, we shut our offices down, and we were home for like 3 extra days. And so I decided I'm stuck at home. I've got nothing better to do. I'm feeling really good about my manuscript. Why not give 10,000 another shot? Except it was from Thursday to Sunday, so I had an extra day. And that ended up being really successful, and I did hit the 10,000 in 4 days, which meant that I had written 17,000 words in 2 weeks. And again, if I was writing 500 words a day, that in 2 weeks, that would have put me at 7,000, and I was at 17,000. So that felt so incredible. And I actually kind of started to convince myself that I might actually finish this draft by the end of February when my target was the end of March. And then the burnout hit. And oh my God, did it hit. I spent the next 2 weeks pretty much coming home from work, making dinner, taking care of my kids, and getting in bed at like 8:30 and doing nothing else. And I'm serious, like for like 2 weeks straight. So from that, I learned a valuable lesson. I'm not a binge writer, or if I'm gonna binge, I need to make sure that I am close to the end so that when the inevitable crash comes, I'm not in the middle of a draft, or like I'm not on a deadline, or I'm expecting myself to continue to be productive after that big binge. I mean, it also didn't help that I was super busy at work, like crazy busy in January. But I honestly do think that the 2 weekends in a row of furious productivity was the trigger for the burnout. So while in the short term, it felt really great, in the long term, it actually ended up hurting me because now I'm behind. Because even after I got out of that like mental slump I was in, I still was feeling really stuck in the manuscript. I have a couple of videos on it, which I will link below. But the gist of it is I hit a couple of really pivotal scenes and they just weren't correct. I don't know how else to describe it. I just did them wrong. But I also didn't know how to fix them, and so it wasn't a situation where I could just delete what I had done and then write it better because I didn't know what else to do. And I think that is also part of the creative burnout. Like, I think if I was in that situation now, I could probably sleep on it a night or two and come up with an answer. But at the time, there was no chance of that happening. I love it. So as I was saying, even after I got out of the slump, I still wasn't being very effective with my writing. I was stopping and starting and like taking 2 steps forward and then having to take 3 steps back. And it was just not very efficient. And I was still, obviously, in hindsight, wasn't as connected to the draft as I was before those big weekends. And I also knew that I had a trip coming up in the middle of the month where I was going to be out of town. At one point, I considered bringing my laptop to get some writing done in the down moments of my trip. But in the end, I just decided that forcing myself to work during the week where I'm supposed to be resting is only going to make the week feel like a waste, because I'm taking time off from my day job. And if I spend the time off also working and mentally taxing myself, I'm going to come back and not feel like I took any time away. So I went on my trip. I left on Saturday. I got back on Tuesday afternoon. And as soon as I got back, I spent, and this is not an exaggeration, like 40 straight hours in bed. And I'm serious. I got back on Tuesday afternoon at about 4:30. I told my partner I was going to take a nap because I was tired from the drive. And then I took my nap. I ate some dinner. I got back in bed. And then I did not get up again until Thursday morning. I spent all of Wednesday in bed. I mean, I got up to, hygienate and take care of the dogs and eat, but I was in bed effectively. And let me tell you, I wish everyone could have an excuse to do that at some point in their lives. It was fantastic. The purest and most relaxing bed rotting I have ever done, because I had no expectations on my time. My kids were with their dad. I was off of work. I had pre-filmed a bunch of videos for my other channel, so I didn't have the expectation on me to have to get up and film and edit videos. And I had already kind of given myself permission to check out from writing for the week. So I had literally no expectations on my time. I could do whatever the hell I wanted to do. And while that sounds like that's not that revolutionary, especially for like a vacation, a time off that I specifically took away from work, it was to me. I am a person who, like, if I am not in motion constantly, I will crash out, which is all the more evidence of how badly I needed to spend 40 straight hours in bed. And then when I got back from vacation, I went back to work, and I had told myself, once I'm back at work, it's going to be back to real life, including the writing. I was ready for it. My first day back at work was the 17th, and from the 17th to the 28th, I wrote 9 out of 11 days. And one of those days was just this last Friday, the 28th, where I was engaged with my daughter's show choir performance from like 6:30 till midnight. So I think that's fair. Unfortunately, I am still behind, because in those 9 out of 11 days that I wrote, I managed to write a total of 9,410 words. If I'm averaging out the total writing I did in the month of February, I got 336 words per day. Not great. My baseline is 500. But if I'm averaging that out only on the days that I did write, it's over 1,000. So better. I just need to work on my consistency. Now, it is March 2nd. And unfortunately, it is looking like I am starting the month with 2 big goose eggs. Unfortunately, yesterday, I just needed a mental day, a mental health day. That's not the right word. The end of the month at my day job is the most stressful for me, because I have a lot to do and not a lot of time to do it in. And so I always talk about how like at those last few days of the month, my brain feels like Swiss cheese, and the Swiss cheese brain was Swiss cheesing for sure. And so I took Saturday. I kept telling myself that I was going to work, but I just ended up lazing on my couch, watching Monty Python's Flying Circus with my kids, and just generally vibing instead of being productive. And you know what? I think that's probably fine. I mean, even if I don't hit my deadline, I don't think I'm going to look back on Saturday as the reason for that. I think I needed it. And I think by taking Saturday and allowing myself to rest, it's actually going to be healthier and more efficient for me in the long run. And then today I had to finish a major project at school. It is the end of my term. It is a major project from this economics class that I've kind of been hating. And so I needed to spend some effort on that. And then it was like just cleaning the house and taking care of things, filming videos, and just doing some catch up. So 29 days from here on out to get 41,000 words. How's that math out? Almost 1,500. That's a kind of a big yikes. 2 weeks ago, I said I was going to try this system of writing 1,000 words a day, Monday through Friday, and 2,500 words Saturday and Sunday. And it didn't really work out that first week. I wrote 1,000 words Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, I think. Anyway, I missed one day. And then also 1,000 words on Saturday and Sunday. So it's kind of feeling like 1,000 words is my cap. Fortunately, not this coming week, but next week. So starting a week from tomorrow, it will be my kids' monthly week-long custody with their dad. So I'm going to get a bunch of time back that I would normally spend on kid activities, particularly in the evenings. And then when I get them back from their dads, they're going straight to my mother's house. So I'm really going to have like 10 days straight, call it 9, of extracurricular freeness. This week, I'm going to try and maintain that goal of 1,000 words Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Thursday is a little bit dubious because my youngest's 4th grade musical is that day, but we'll see. But then after that, I'll be child free and I will have a bunch of extra time. So my goal for the next week is that 10,000 word schedule that that I mentioned. And then what I'd really like to do is take that second week of March and use it to get maybe 2,000 words a day. I don't want to make the mistake of what I did in January and burn myself out so close to the end. That would be devastating. But I think I could do 2,000 words a day. Right now, 1,000 words is averaging me like an hour and 15 minutes. And without the time commitment of all the extracurriculars for the kids in the evenings, I'll get that time back. So I could have 2.5 hours in the evenings, Monday through Friday. Now that I'm not at the end of my school term, I won't have as much like homework. I mean, I'll still have some, but it won't be like major projects that I'm spending like 12 hours on. So that's where I'm at. I still have every intention of finishing this draft by the end of March. I have 11 chapters currently and an epilogue. And of course, this is the climax, or the run up to the climax and then the climax in the end. So I'm really hoping that the feeling I get from reading the last 40% of a book translates into writing as well, and I just blow through it. So I have a lot of big milestones coming up. March is going to be a big writing month for me. I can feel it in my bones. I am going to nail it. And I just want to thank everyone for being here and being with me on this journey. I so appreciate it. Writing is so solitary a lot of the time. Even if you have like a writing group or writing buddies or a critique partner or someone who you can just scream at when the words aren't coming, the actual act itself, unless you are co-writing with someone, is completely solitary. And it can be easy to forget that you're not alone, that other writers have been through it too. There are other writers going through it right now. I created this channel to just kind of shout into the void, and you guys are making sure that I actually am heard. And I cannot begin to tell you how much I appreciate it. I hope you guys stick around and stick with me until the end of this draft. Of course, my plan is not to just let this idea wither on the vine and stay in the trunk. I imagine I'll probably take a little bit of time off from the project to get some distance and then start working on a revision plan and then in revisions as well. But I'm also going to start world building my next project. Seekers of Empyrean, if you are not familiar, I will link my introduction to my work in progress right here, but it is an urban fantasy set in the real world, which meant that I didn't have to do any setting based world building. I had to do some magic building, but like the world itself is all based on real world America. So not a lot of need to come up with brand new cities and landmarks and history and all of that. My next project is going to be in a completely secondary world. So it's going to take quite a bit more effort to world build. I spent maybe 2 months doing the world building for Seekers of Empyrean, and it was largely focused on the magic and like the long-term plot of the series. With my next project, which is tentatively titled Daughters of Necessity, I'm gonna have to do everything. It's not just the magic, it's also the world and everything that goes with it. I'm pretty excited about it. It is like a adventure story in like a post-apocalyptic setting where a magical plague ravaged a kingdom, took out like the majority of its population, a lot of the like livestock as well, and tainted the earth. So this land is practically uninhabitable, but they have also been sealed off from the rest of the world by a natural like mountain range, and the pass has been blocked, so they can't leave because of fear of this plague. And so it is a sapphic adventure story of how to find out if this world is salvageable. And I'm really excited about it. It's been in my head for a while. I did attempt to draft it at one point and I got about 25,000 words in. I've got some ideas about the magic and the characters and all that, but I'm really feeling strongly about getting into the world building again. And I just realized that I am rambling. This was just supposed to be a recap of February and a look ahead to March. So I will just thank you again for being here and for watching and for all your words of encouragement. I so appreciate it. If you like my content and want to support the channel, please like and subscribe or consider a comment down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, leave me a shamrock emoji for March. In my next video, I hope to have a regularly scheduled vlog for you where I hope I am crossing over that 70,000 word mark. I hope you look forward to it and I will see you then. Bye.